I'd like you to take a moment and think about the videos that you watch online. You have a few videos in mind? Great. Now, take those videos, that list of videos in your mind, and narrow it down to the videos that are hosted. Okay, now that you're thinking about those, think about how the host is represented. And we're not thinking about the way the host talks, and we're not thinking about the way the host looks at you. Right now we're thinking about the way that video is made. So, how is the host framed? How much of the host's body do you see? What's the background like? What kind of clothing do they wear? Where is their eye focus? What kind of voice do they use? Okay, now, while I'm going through the rest of the video, I want you to keep that image in mind. By the way, my name is Rebekah Lane, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to put together a video for this course. Now, when you're thinking about putting together a video, you have 4 specific things that you want to keep in mind, and we're going to go through those right now. They are background, lighting, sound, and framing. So first we're going to think about the background. Now when you're thinking about background, remember that this is a professional video. That's the goal of this course, is to give you a way of professionally representing yourself online. Now, when you're doing that, you want to make sure that you're bringing us into places that you would bring an employer. So, would you bring your employer into your bedroom? Probably not. Okay. Would you bring your employer into your living room or your kitchen? Probably not. Definitely not in a first meeting, right? More than likely, you wouldn't bring your employer into your living space. Okay, so if you wouldn't bring your employer into your living space, that means that you don't want to bring us, your audience, into your living space. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, how do I do this? The place that I'm recording is in my living space. That's cool. I'll let you in on a secret right now. I'm in my living space. But I've created a background for myself. This right here, this is wrapping paper. And I've actually taped it to blinds in front of a big sliding door. So creating a background is easier than you think. A lot of people use walls. A blank wall is an excellent idea. Or anything that you can find that's going to give you a nice, matte background that allows us to focus on you and doesn't leave us curious about what's behind you. Alright, so that's background. Next we're talking about lighting. So lighting is important, basically because we need to see you. And there are 2 types of lighting that really prevent us from doing that. First is when you don't have enough lighting. If you don't have enough lighting, it's way too dark. And you're in shadow. That's too bad. The way to fix this is to add a couple lamps. The best thing to do is to have a lamp to your right, a lamp to your left, and some overhead lighting. And that gives you a nice, well-rounded lighting without getting you too many shadows. Now sometimes when you add this many lights, the light gets a little bit bright. That's okay. You can deal with this. You can diffuse the light usually by putting a white pillowcase or a white t-shirt over those lights, and that'll diffuse it just enough to make it okay for the camera to see. Okay, so that's lighting. Next we want to talk about sound. Sound is important. It's important that we can A, hear you, and B, that we can focus on your voice. Now, by focusing on your voice, what I mean is think about the sounds in the background. Sometimes this is as simple as thinking about the faucet that's dripping. Thinking about your roommates that may or may not come in while you're talking. Thinking about your pets. This can also include background noises that maybe you've forgotten about, like your television, your radio. Any of those extra noises, they are distracting. They take us away from your voice and make us wonder what's around you. Okay, finally, we want to think about your frame. Now, this is the point where you really take those videos that you see online, take those into account. Your frame is how we see you, what's included in that video screen. So, for example, your background's included in there, and you are included in your frame. Now, what I recommend is having some space above you and having some space to your sides. Centering yourself in your frame. What you can also do, if you're feeling creative, is you can choose to step to the side, but you only want to do this if you want to have text or visuals right over here. Okay. Next, you want to think about how much of your body you want to show. Sometimes it's really great to have hand gestures. But as you can see right here, when I flip my hands up, it's a little bit distracting because they just pop into the screen. Now, if I lowered my frame just a little bit so that you could see my hands, that would be actually pretty cool. And you could see all of my gestures. So I've chosen, because of the space that I have right now, to represent myself from my shoulders up, and that's okay. It's really up to you and your space. What I don't want to see is this. Sometimes when we lean over the screen, it looks a little weird. It's a little too close. Go ahead and step back. Makes a huge difference. All right, my name is Rebekah Lane, and those are my tips on video execution. I'm really looking forward to seeing the videos you've got. Thanks a lot. Have fun.